Hi, welcome to Turtle Burger Crochet and Knitting. My name is Brittany. Today's video will be another project vlog. It will be covering Thursday, June 23rd until today, which is Monday, June 27th, 2022. I'll be honest, I deleted my notes and tried rewriting them on the app, and I couldn't get it back, so I don't know what order I did things in on which days, so we're just gonna go from here. The first thing I know that I did was in preparation for Carla Knits podcast Merry Make Along. I did go to stitchfiddle.com, and a couple of years ago, I made two of our children their own stockings, and I crocheted them. And using Stitch Fiddle, I put in, I crocheted their names into the top of their stockings. And so I was going to do that for our oldest son, Burger. So I went ahead and did that in preparation so that I wouldn't waste any time in Carla's make-along. The other thing I did was I worked just literally 2 rows of Turtle's Barley Hat by Tin Can Knits. And this yarn is using, in this hat, I'm using Karen's Simply Soft in the color Autumn Red. I am making I think it's the child size. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the child size. And I'm using my Clover Takumi interchangeable needles. It's a US 8 5mm. So that is a slow going process, but we're in summer, so I'm not too worried about that. In the last episodes or vlogs, you were seeing me knit up some dishcloths for my husband. I finished those, so I'm going to reserve those for an actual podcast episode, so I'm not going to show those. I don't remember working on my Be Simple variation shawls. I've got 2 of them going. I don't remember working on them at all, so I'm not even going to bring those out. The other thing was I am still working on my Holly White socks. I finished the first one last night, and this is what I've got done today. I did, which before I get into it, Holly White sock pattern is by McKaylee of Breaking Yarn. She is hosting a knit along until June 30th, so I am trying to get these done so I can support her. I tested these socks for her, and I really like this pattern. Not this sock, the original that I did. But anyway, so the yarn I'm using is Huntington Valley yarns in the color Red Purple. I am turning it into a shorty sock using the extra small size, which is a 56 stitch count sock. It is obviously cuffed down. I did 11 rows. I did 2 repeats of the leg, and I am now working the heel flap. I am about 10 rows in of the 28 rows total for my size. And then also what I do, well, I say what I do, this is what I'm continuing to do. I did it once and thought I knew what I was doing, so then last time I didn't do it. I did it halfway. But anyway, on the side here, the sock uses a slip stitch heel, and I put a marker in the first slip stitch of each round or row so that I know where to pick up the stitches when I go to do that on the gusset. So that is that. Okay, now the good stuff. Oh yeah, I already said the yarn I was using for that. Okay, so if you've been with me for a while, you know that I started a love note also by Tin Can Knits. Here it is, and I was just not really liking what was going on with it. there were so many things. First of all these crazy yarns are a lace repeat section. That way I can mark them off. I just didn't like the fabric because I think because of the needle size. I really like the yarn and everything. So I didn't do a proper swatch on it. I was getting really frustrated with swatching originally, which, okay, here's a little bit better. So, this is just a great big old mess, and it's upside down. Anyway, so the pattern calls for using a 6mm on a size 3 yarn. I have my size 3 yarn, which is Kobu, which is a cotton and bamboo mixture. It is this color. I'm going to say Lichen, L-I-C-H-E-N, size 3. So it's a very loose gauge. This yarn is extremely stretchy to begin with. So I just wasn't really liking where it was going, so I've just kind of put it off to the side. So then I had the idea of making little lady ones so that I would get the idea of how things were on a smaller scale. And I thought, you know what? I didn't do it properly to begin with. I need to start with a gauge swatch. So I still didn't do it completely properly. But I decided to make her one out of this Lion brand Mandala. Look at those colors. So pretty. This is the color Fairy. This was a donation. So I did a very small swatch. Very, very small. I think there's only like 16, 20, maybe 20 stitches on here. Anyway, I met gauge. Once I got it blocked, I met gauge. I'm probably going to do it again because this is just too small. And I made the actual tube in the round instead of doing that over the hand method. And I end up meeting gauge on that with the proper 6mm needle. But with that being said, I did it on a needle I have no plans of using because it was horrible. It was a Boye, B-O-Y-E. I don't know if they're acrylic or aluminum or what, but and it wasn't so much the needles as the cable. It had no give at all and was not pleasant to work with. So I'm going to redo this on my clovers and see. I would have done them on my co-knit bamboo, which is kind of how I ended up with the other ones, but I didn't realize till I went to get them that one broke, so I don't have that. And then once I met gauge on this and was like, wow, I know it's small, but I did a proper gauge, I got really excited to redo a gauge swatch on mine using that Kobu. So here's what I did. Oh, it's upside down. See how stretchy this is? So what I did was I ended up doing that speed swatching cheating method, and I cast on 24 stitches, I believe it was. And what that did, the gauge swatch in the pattern is 16 stitches by 24 rows for 4 inches. So I knew this was going to be messy, so I wanted to be able to count my stitches kind of in the middle. So I left 4 stitches on either side, and before blocking I had 3 1/8 inches between the 16 stitches, and then after blocking I got exactly 4 inches, and this is such a stretchy material. Oh, and the other thing I did, this was the whole important thing, is I didn't like the bigger needle size with this. I didn't like the fabric or anything, but I went down to a 5mm needle. I did not take row gauge, but I did do 28 rows. The most important thing for me was getting the 16 stitches in 4 inches. And I did that, and it was so exciting. So now I think, like, I just want to make gauge swatches. which is kind of a good idea actually. That way, if I have a particular yarn that I use a lot and maybe a particular needle size, I don't really have to do a gauge swatch every time because I will know what my gauge is with that. But anyway, so I'm not gonna rip this out yet. I'm kind of nervous and hesitant to do that, but I do have all the other yarn I had planned to use with that one, so I'm gonna start with these 3 and cast it back on. These are the 5mm co-knit bamboo needles I did my swatch on. I likely will change it to my clovers because I really like those. I do not like this vinyl cable, but you know, it gets the job done. Let me see, the other thing with the swatch, is I was watching a Yarn Tale podcast the other night, and Karen, who does the Yarn Tale podcast, she just finished her love note, which turned out beautifully. And what she did was she did not do the provisional cast on with that. She just did a regular long tail cast on and went and knit the whole sweater, or love note sweater, and then went back and picked it up like the pattern, picked up the stitches like the pattern says. So I think I might try that. That seems a lot easier. I did the provisional cast on this one, as you see. I don't know if I even did it right, but there's so much I feel like in learning to knit a sweater that maybe this isn't what I want to focus on right now as much as the construction of knitting a sweater. So I think that's kind of exciting. Also, real quickly before I go, starting July 1st is the dishcloth knit along on Ravelry. I will put all the appropriate links below, and if you use Ravelry, you're welcome to click them. It is knitting, crocheting, even sewing. I don't know if you can sew dishcloths, but I don't see why you can't. If you happen to sew and sew dishcloths, please come join. You're welcome to submit those to the finished object thread. The cowl runs July 1st and will end September 30th. Whatever the next video I post after September 30th is, that's where I will announce a winner. The prize is a Ravelry pattern of your choice, up to $10. So that is today's video. I hope you're having a fabulous day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.